Imagine a world free from massive power bills, a world where disease is cured with a single, simple device, a world where your car runs on water. That world isn't science fiction. It's the world we were supposed to live in. Why don't we? Because history's most powerful corporations viewed these breakthroughs not as progress, but as a threat to their massive, trillion-dollar empires. They paid fortunes to buy these patents, lock them away, and let the truth rot in dusty vault archives. Today, the unseen ledger is breaking into those archives. We're going to expose 15 genius inventions that were intentionally murdered to protect profit. Secrets like a breakthrough cancer cure that vanished after its inventor was silenced, a self-sustaining magnetic motor that powered homes for free, and the ultimate, final invention so dangerous to the status quo, the corporation that bought it vanished without a trace. These are the inventions that could have saved millions and changed everything. But first, you have to know the dark deals that killed them. Number 15, the Pantone fuel processor, water for gas. In the 1980s, Ohio inventor Stephen Pantone developed a technology that sounded like pure magic, a device that could dramatically increase a vehicle's fuel efficiency by injecting a small amount of water vapor into the engine. This wasn't a water-powered car, but a water-assisted one. The device, the Pantone fuel processor, was an external unit attached to the engine, using waste heat to vaporize water and break down fuel molecules more completely during combustion. It promised insane fuel economy gains and drastically reduced emissions, a massive win for the environment and consumers alike. But imagine what this meant for the petrochemical giants. They were looking at a 50% drop in fuel consumption overnight. Despite successful demonstrations and prototypes, the funding dried up, the patents became tied in legal knots, and the technology was effectively starved out of the market. The official reason? It was too complex for mass consumer adoption. The secret reason? It was too successful at saving you money, which directly threatened the endless cycle of dependency on fossil fuels, a conspiracy of convenience that cost the world billions in fuel savings. Number 14, the G-meter. The perfect earthquake predictor. A simple, accurate earthquake predictor would save countless lives and trillions of dollars in structural damage. In the 1970s, scientist Jim Birkeland claimed to have invented just that, the G-meter. Birkeland's method wasn't based on complex seismic readings, but on the strange, subtle fluctuations in the Earth's gravitational field that precede major earthquakes. He developed a meter that could read these shifts and, famously, made several eerily accurate predictions, including a major quake near Santa Cruz. But the scientific establishment and, more importantly, the powerful insurance and real estate industries rejected him. Why? Because the knowledge of an impending quake causes massive, immediate economic panic, devaluing property and stopping construction. They decided that economic certainty was more valuable than accurate prediction. Birkeland was sidelined, mocked, and eventually silenced, forced out of his official government position. His invention, the G-meter, was dismissed as pseudoscience. The secret here is that the ability to accurately predict natural disasters is considered an economic liability by the institutions designed to protect wealth, not people. Number 13, the Rife machine. Electromagnetic cures. In the 1930s, microbiologist Royal Rife pioneered a revolutionary, non-invasive approach to disease. Using a massive, custom-built optical microscope, Rife claimed he could identify the specific frequency at which viruses and bacteria oscillated. He then developed the Rife machine, a device that emitted a matching, lethal electromagnetic frequency, effectively shattering the pathogen without harming the surrounding cells. He claimed incredible success treating numerous patients suffering from cancer and other severe diseases. Imagine a simple, frequency-based cure for disease, bypassing the need for complex, expensive chemical drugs. The reaction from the medical and pharmaceutical establishment was immediate and hostile. Rife was relentlessly attacked, his labs were raided, his devices were confiscated, and his colleagues were discredited. The technology, which threatened the entire profit model of chronic disease management, was suffocated by powerful forces who ensured the idea of a simple, frequency-based cure became a fringe conspiracy theory, effectively burying a genuine medical breakthrough for over 80 years. Number 12, the predictive magnetic motor, perpetual motion. The concept of a machine that generates more energy than it consumes, perpetual motion, is often called impossible. But in 2002, South African inventor Mike Brady unveiled the predictive magnetic motor. This device was based on a simple but radical premise: arranging permanent magnets in a rotating sequence that constantly pushes the rotor, creating continuous rotation and generating free energy without fuel. Brady claimed his device could generate up to 20 kilowatts of power, enough to run a house. Imagine every home generating its own, non-polluting, free electricity. Brady's initial demonstrations were successful and attracted massive investment interest. Then, the inevitable silence. The patent was challenged, the blueprints were stolen, and Brady himself was embroiled in legal battles and threats that eventually drove him to abandon the project. The magnetic motor, a clean power source that threatened the global electric utility and fossil fuel industries, was not just debunked. It was actively disassembled piece by corporate fear, ensuring the energy infrastructure remains chained to expensive, centralized power grids. Number 11, the carburetors that got 100 miles per gallon. During the 1970s energy crisis, several inventors, most famously Tom Ogle and a legendary inventor of the Pogue carburetor, claimed to have developed simple, bolt-on carburetor modifications that could deliver phenomenal fuel economy, often exceeding 100 miles per gallon. Their secret wasn't complex engineering, but a fundamental redesign of how gasoline was vaporized, making the combustion far more efficient. Ogle demonstrated his fuel vaporizer publicly, driving hundreds of miles on a few gallons of gas. Why aren't these on every car today? The major auto manufacturers and oil companies saw this not as an opportunity for innovation, but as a catastrophic event. If cars needed 90% less fuel, the entire economic model of transportation would collapse. Ogle was offered massive buyouts, refused, and soon after, he met a mysterious end, ruled a drug overdose, despite the circumstances. The patents were bought and killed, ensuring that mandatory inefficiency remained the standard for the internal combustion engine. Number 10, Stan Meyer's water fuel cell, hydrogen on demand. This invention is one of the most famous examples of suppressed technology. Stan Meyer, an inventor from Ohio, claimed in the 1980s to have developed a water fuel cell that could split water into hydrogen and oxygen on demand using minimal energy, effectively allowing a car to run on plain water. Meyer insisted his technology didn't require high energy because it operated on a different principle, using voltage spikes, not current, to break the water molecule. If successful, this would instantly destroy the oil industry. Meyer received patents and demonstrated the buggy to investors. The courts initially backed him, but then the legal and corporate attacks began in earnest. Meyer suddenly and violently died in 1998 in a bizarre meeting at a restaurant. His last words, according to his brother, were, "They poisoned me." The patent documents and the technology were seized and locked down, ensuring the water car remains a technological ghost. A symbol of corporate control over potentially planet-saving energy solutions. Number 9, the Tesla turbine, simple, high-efficiency power. Nikola Tesla is a legend of suppressed science, but one of his most powerful concepts was simple and incredibly efficient. The Tesla turbine. Patented in 1913, this engine was completely bladeless, using only a series of smooth, closely spaced discs. Fluid or gas passing over the discs creates a massive frictional force, spinning the rotor at extremely high speeds. The genius is its simplicity, virtually no vibration, no complex vanes to manufacture, and much higher efficiency than traditional bladed turbines. If scaled up, this turbine could have replaced bulky, complex engines in factories and power plants, drastically reducing complexity and cost. Why was it abandoned? The established turbine manufacturers had already invested billions in bladed technology and refused to retool their entire industry for Tesla's simpler design. They dismissed it, buried the idea under technical criticism, and protected their sunk costs. The Tesla turbine remains a brilliant testament to efficiency that was killed by the inertia of massive, entrenched industrial power. Number 8. The cure for the common cold and cancer. Dr. Emanuel Revesi. Dr. Emanuel Revesi was a brilliant Romanian physician who practiced in New York and developed a bizarre, controversial, but allegedly highly successful approach to cancer and other terminal diseases. His treatments used specialized lipid compounds to correct imbalances in the body's biochemistry, targeting cellular destruction without the extreme toxicity of chemotherapy. For decades, he claimed success rates that were statistically impossible, drawing both famous and desperate patients. But his practice was independent, non-conventional, and fundamentally threatened the standardized, billion-dollar medical protocols of the American Medical Association, AMA, and pharmaceutical research. The AMA launched a continuous, devastating campaign to revoke his license and discredit his work. His unique chemical compounds and his complex, personalized treatment methodology were successfully painted as quackery, and his research papers were ignored. When Revesi died, his unique knowledge, which offered personalized, low-toxicity cures, was effectively lost, erased from mainstream medicine by institutions prioritizing established methodology over radical success. Number 7. The Tucker Torpedo. Safety first, too soon. The Tucker Torpedo, designed by Preston Tucker in the late 1940s, was supposed to be the car that changed everything. It wasn't just beautiful. It was packed with radical safety inventions, a padded dashboard, seat belts, unheard of at the time, and a central swiveling third headlight that turned with the steering wheel for visibility. The most advanced feature was the safety chamber under the dashboard where passengers could duck during an unavoidable crash. The big three automakers, Ford, GM, Chrysler, viewed this not just as competition, but as a direct indictment of their own unsafe, obsolete designs. If the Tucker was marketed as safe, it implied their cars were death traps. Tucker was relentlessly targeted with political and legal attacks, accusations of fraud, and manufacturing sabotage. The car was killed before it could reach mass production, ensuring that mandatory safety features were delayed by decades, purely to protect the established automakers from having to admit their vehicles were dangerous. Number 6. The solar roads technology. Energy from asphalt. Imagine every road, parking lot, and highway generating massive amounts of clean, solar power. That was the vision of Solar Roadways, a company that developed hexagonal, tempered glass panels embedded with solar cells, designed to be durable enough to drive on, heatable to melt snow, and strong enough to support semi-trucks. The energy savings and environmental impact would be colossal, potentially powering the entire country with renewable energy. The secret? The technology wasn't just a threat to the fossil fuel industry. It was a threat to the established construction and materials industries. The asphalt and concrete lobbies, which control government contracts for infrastructure, fiercely resisted the idea of replacing their cheap, standardized materials with this complex, high-tech alternative. Despite raising millions in funding, the project faced endless bureaucratic hurdles, technical skepticism, and outright sabotage from entrenched interests, ensuring that our roads remain simple, black surfaces that absorb heat rather than generate power. Number 5. The Cloudbuster. Manipulating weather. Wilhelm Reich, psychoanalyst and scientist, developed a bizarre, controversial device called the Cloudbuster. Reich believed he had discovered a fundamental, life force energy he called orgone energy. The Cloudbuster was an array of hollow metal tubes pointed toward the sky. Reich claimed it could absorb orgone energy from the atmosphere and manipulate weather patterns, potentially inducing rain in drought-stricken areas. The U.S. government, particularly the FDA, viewed Reich and his radical theories as a severe threat to established science and public health orthodoxy. His devices were seized, his books were banned and burned, and Reich himself was eventually imprisoned, where he died. The secret here is the absolute suppression of any technology that claims to control natural systems or access unconventional energy, whether it works or not. The Cloudbuster was killed because it challenged the basic scientific and political premise that such fundamental forces are beyond human control, securing the government's monopoly on weather-related research and technology. Number 4. The Pulse Plasma Generator, PPG Clean Energy Explosion. The pulse plasma generator, invented by scientist James Griggs, was a radical approach to cheap, clean energy. The device used an electrical pulse to vaporize a small amount of liquid, creating a massive, controlled burst of plasma. This plasma explosion was then captured to drive a turbine and generate electricity. Griggs claimed the energy output was enormous, capable of generating clean power at a tiny fraction of the cost of coal or nuclear power. The PPG was a direct threat to the established power generation monopolies, promising small, decentralized, and highly efficient energy sources that bypass their entire infrastructure. Like many free energy concepts, it faced immediate, crippling legal battles and investment sabotage. The technology was effectively placed in patent limbo, where it remains legally owned but technically unavailable to the public. It is a brilliant, clean energy solution that was suffocated not by physics, but by the legal and financial maneuverings of the fossil fuel lobby. Number 3. The water-based fire extinguisher additive, the cheap, perfect killer. A firefighting additive, developed by a small chemical company, promised to make water up to 10 times more effective at extinguishing fires, especially major industrial and chemical fires. The additive was cheap, non-toxic, and could be easily mixed into standard fire truck reservoirs. If adopted, this would have drastically reduced damage, saved countless lives, and minimized the cost of fire insurance and industrial protection. The secret? The massive billion-dollar fire extinguisher and fire retardant industries, which specialize in expensive, complex chemical foams and suppression systems, viewed this cheap water additive as an existential threat. They mobilized lobbyists and used technical reports to cast doubt on its efficacy, ultimately ensuring the additive's patent was bought, silenced, and replaced by endless marketing of their own, far more expensive, proprietary chemical agents. This is a clear case of corporate protectionism actively preventing a simple safety breakthrough from reaching the public. Number 2. The catalytic converter bypass, air purity. In the 1970s, a team of researchers developed an advanced catalytic converter design that was far smaller, cheaper, and exponentially more effective at scrubbing pollutants from car exhaust than the bulky, expensive converters mandated by government standards. This invention used fewer rare earth metals and offered cleaner air at a lower cost to the consumer. The major auto manufacturers and the platinum/palladium mining cartels, who profited immensely from the expensive rare earth materials used in the standard converters, immediately launched a suppression campaign. They argued that the new design would destabilize the market, was unreliable, and violated existing emission standards they themselves had helped write. The patent was acquired by a massive corporation and effectively shelved, ensuring that the technology that gives us cleaner air remains unnecessarily expensive and complicated, all to protect the profit margins of entrenched material and auto manufacturers. Number 1. The final invention, the self-sustaining home generator. The ultimate secret on this ledger is the invention that truly terrified the global energy and construction markets. While many people have invented free energy devices, this final, unnamed technology was a small, self-contained unit capable of powering an entire small home, indefinitely, using an entirely closed-loop electromagnetic system that required no external fuel or charging. The corporation that purchased this patent was not an energy company, but a massive real estate and land development firm. Why? Because a home that generates its own free, Off-grid power destroys the value proposition of centralized infrastructure and suburban dependency. It means you can build a house anywhere, making location irrelevant and undermining the entire centralized urban planning model. Once the patent was secured, the real estate firm faced immediate and intense scrutiny from utility companies and government regulators. The corporation itself, unable to utilize the technology without shattering the system, quietly dissolved, its assets split, and its ultimate secret, the patent, lost to the labyrinth of shell companies and legal erasure. The ultimate self-sustaining home power system was killed not just by profit, but by the fundamental fear of total human independence. Ultra. From life-saving cures to the promise of free energy, these 15 inventions were technological casualties in the war between innovation and profit. They were too disruptive, too efficient, and too independent for the trillion-dollar companies that rule our world. If these corporate secrets shocked you, make sure you hit the subscribe button now. Which of these 15 inventions would change your life the most if it were released today? Let me know in the comments below.